Hello, my name is Irfan Hafiz bin Sulaiman and I will presenting the introduction of Bhopal gas tragedy. The Bhopal disaster caused by a toxic gas leak in 1984 remains one of the worst industrial accidents in history. It exposed major failure in safety system, maintenance and emergency response. This tragedy reminds us of the vital role engineer plays in protecting public safety through ethical and professional conduct. It also shows the severe consequences of ignoring engineering ethics and accountability. Above all, it highlights the need for proactive ethical decision making in every aspect of engineering practice.
Hi, my name is Ramesh and I'll be discussing on Bhopal incident 1984. The Bhopal gas tragedy occurs on the night of December 2nd to 3rd, 1984 at the Union Carbide India Limited pesticide plant in Bhopal. Around 12:40 a.m., a safety valve on tank E610, which contained about 40 tons of methyl isocyanate or MIC, a highly toxic and volatile chemical, ruptured due to a dangerous pressure buildup. This was triggered when water accidentally entered the MIC tank during maintenance to a faulty valve. The water reacted violently with MIC in an uncontrolled exothermic reaction, rapidly increasing temperature and pressure. Making matters worse, the refrigerator unit had been shut down to reduce costs, and both the flare and gas scrubber were non-operational as well due to maintenance. As a result, thick clouds of poisonous gas escaped into nearby residential area. Around 3,800 people died immediately, but over time the death toll exceeded 20,000. More than half a million were exposed, making this one of the deadliest industrial disasters in history. Next is the technical and engineering issues. For this chapter, we will be more focusing on Engineers Act 1967. The Bhopal disaster is a clear example of how serious violations of engineering responsibility can lead to catastrophic outcome. Under Section 1510 of the Engineers Act 1967, engineers must act with skill, care, and diligence, but in this case, those duties was neglected. Critical safety systems like the flare tower and gas scrubber were either non-functional or missing entirely, breaching Regulation 24B, which requires engineers to protect public safety. Poor maintenance, lack of staff training, and inactive safety features further violated Regulation 24A, which emphasizes diligence of good faith. On top of that, Union Carbide failed to implement industry best practices like HISOP and risk assessments, breaching Regulation 23 on ethical and competent practice.
The Bhopal gas tragedy is a powerful example of how ethical failures in engineering can lead to devastating consequences. The first issue was corporate irresponsibility. Union Carbide prioritized profits by cutting costs, shutting down key safety systems, and ultimately putting thousands of lives at risk. The second issue was a lack of transparency. Neither the local community nor the plant workers were properly informed about the hazardous chemicals or trained for emergencies. And finally, there was a lack of ethical monitoring. Engineers and management failed to speak up about the unsafe conditions, ignoring their professional responsibility to protect human life and the environment. The Bhopal disaster didn't just affect life, it reshaped how we view ethics in engineering worldwide. It redefined ethical responsibility, showing that safety must always come before profit, and that engineers and corporations must be held fully accountable for the decisions they make. The tragedy also exposed the gap between legal systems and moral accountability. Despite clear negligence, UCC and its leaders avoided serious punishment. Most importantly, it pushed for stronger regulation, sparking global discussion on industrial safety laws, risk management, and the ethical duty of engineers to uphold public trust.
In this slide, I will highlight key safety measures to prevent industrial disasters like the Bhopal tragedy. First, industries must minimize the amount of hazardous chemicals they keep on site. Less storage means less chance of a dangerous leak or accident. Second, whenever possible, companies should use safer alternatives instead of highly toxic materials. This greatly reduces risk to workers and the surrounding community. Third, process safety must be a priority. This means having reliable safety systems like alarms, gas scrubbers, and regular inspections to make sure equipment works when needed. Fourth, strong emergency response plans are crucial. Workers and nearby residents must know what to do if something goes wrong, and local hospitals should be ready to treat chemical exposure quickly. Lastly, strict regulatory oversight is needed to make sure companies follow safety rules. A strong safety culture, honest reporting, and global accountability all help protect people and the environment. Together, these actions save lives and the environment.
To conclude, long-term safety in engineering relies on strong ethical foundation and proactive practice. We must integrate ethics and safety into all levels of education and work, follow maintenance standards, and support a culture where engineers can speak up about risk. Most importantly, learning from past tragedies like Bhopal help us improve continuously and prevent future failure. That's all from me. Thank you.